I used to envy Ted. Not just the things he said, but his attitude and his crafty little ways. I mean, you might not think it, but I'm quite naive. But Teddy's, well, he's suave and he's cool and sophisticated and blaze. I mean, you take the other day when he took that Betsy May up that pasture land just past the gravel pit. He kicked a sleeping cow. Made her get up and walk away so that she'd have somewhere warm and dry to sit. And there's a loner in that field, and she's just about to yield, and her dad turns up and starts to raise his voice. He says, "Is your intentions honourable or dishonourable, my man?" And Ted says, "What, you mean I get a choice?" Similar thing happens to me a week last Saturday. I end up with a swollen, bleeding lip. I was with her big brother, Ray. He says, "Do you know my sister, May?" And like a tool fool, I says, "No, but thank you for the tip." And I was with that Patsy O'Toole, and in this field there's this cow and this bull, and they was... Well, you can see they was friendly anyhow. I turns to her, I says, "Hey, Pat, I wouldn't have liked to do that." She says, "Well, why not ask? She looks a friendly cow." Old Ted's in these here digs, and the landlady treats them like pigs. Well, you can't blame her, because they ain't exactly elite. One day she goes round the bend. She says, "All right, pack your things, that's the end. Clear out, you ain't even having a bite to eat." Well, the others all goes white. But Teddy says, "All right. I knows plenty of landladies could use some extra loving. I'll not be homeless long, because I'm virile and I'm strong." She says, "I'm not talking to you, your dinner's in the oven." Once I had to go to loo. The train left from platform 2. I gets the hotel tired, so I undressed. In walks a chambermaid real slow, with a dress that's cut so low, if I'd have stood on tippy-toe, I could have seen her vest. She says, "I just come to say goodnight, and to see that you're all right, in that bed, all warm and comfortable and wide. Is there room for another in there?" I looks up, I says, "Oh, yeah." She said, "Well, shove up, there's a commercial traveller outside." Old Ted meets this fancy piece in town, and Ted don't hang around. He's back inside her flat quick as a wink. She starts to pour him a gin, and then she says, "Now, you will tell me when." He says, "Right after I finish that there drink." He looks after himself, all right. Well, he stays there half the night. When he leaves, he says, "I should be toddling off now, Sadie." She says, "Just a minute, honey, don't forget the money." He says, "Cool, I couldn't take money from a lady." I was telling him about Sally and that afternoon in her chalet. I tell you, that day I very near lost my heart. I says, "I hope you like beer, I got a quart in." And I don't know much about courting, but come here and I'll feel your backside for a start. And she put some sun oil in me hand, and she says, "Oh, wouldn't it be grand if you rubbed that on me to protect me from the sun?" Ted says, "Well, was she all white and milky, and was her skin all smooth and silky?" I says, "I don't know, I had my mittens on." Oh, Ted gets back the other day. 6 weeks he'd been away, staying with some woman up the West End. Then a letter arrives from me, implying explicitly a connection between me and his newfound friend. I says, "Now, Ted, I wants the truth." He says, "Well, she was a bit old in the tooth, and I suppose I should be ashamed of what I did, but I give her your name instead of mine." Is that all right? I says, "Fine. She just died and left me £500,000. So if anybody wants a nice lad, good-looking boy with a few coppers, there's a lady, you know, a lady, and a nice lady, and the old lady."
Tonight I held a little hand. It made my sad heart sing. It was the loveliest hand I've ever held. 4 aces and a king.
Just
I hadn't finished. 30 days hath September, April, June and November. All the rest have 31. It's so unfair.
just 2 of the many...
Roses are red and violets are blue. So goes the age-old rhyme. But I know roses are blue and violets are red. I've seen them hanging on the line.
Just 3 of the... Oh, of the collected poems of East End poet St. John Bossum, under the title, Life is Like a Double Bed. Why did you call it that?
Well, I've always believed that is true of life. It's probably the most profound statement I've ever made in my life, you know. All the things that like, are gone on a posterior and all that, you know, and all the phrases and all that, you know, I think it's the most meaningful thing I've ever said. Life is like a double bed.
Why?
Why what?
Why is life like a double bed?
Well, if you're going to bleed and argue about it, life ain't like a double bed. You know, don't get your knickers in a twist, love. I'm only talking, you know.
Mr. Bossum, you've got this reputation for not conforming, for being a bit of a rebel.
Yeah,
Do you feel this is due to your upbringing, your background?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Because, like, my whole family, we don't conform, you know. I mean, why should you? We won't be dictated to, you know. We go our own way, do our own thing, you see. I mean, that's what it's about, man, isn't it, you know? And like my mum, she's a rebel. My mum cooks with Kerrygold. And, you know, some mornings, like, when we like having coffee, we just have it, you know. Just have a coffee, just like that, you know. When we don't shake the jar and listen to the grand music. Not unless if we feel like it, we do, you know. And we get that nice Jamaican lady from next door to come and, you know, jiggle about on it, you know. But if we don't feel like it, you know. I mean, the thing is, you see, if you don't conform like nowadays, you know, people think there's something wrong with you, don't they? I mean, I got long hair, ain't I, you know? Well, you got long hair as well. I mean, you ain't a fella, are you? Anyway, I mean, they see me walking down the road with long hair, and they think, you know, they think straight away that I'm a smoke addict. Smoke addict. You know, on a pot and all that all the time, don't they? You know, then they find out me name's Bossum. Well, that's a stupid name to give a kid, isn't it? Bossum. Well, it's neither one thing nor the other. And then when they find out I'm a poet, I mean, they think, you know, long hair and a poet, I get livid, you know, I could hit him with my handbag sometimes.
With all this ready-made entertainment available at the touch of a button, do you think there still exists within people the urge to write?
Well, all I can say to that, darling, is walls. You look at a whitewashed wall anywhere in London, it ain't whitewashed for long, is it? I mean, the grubby little pencils are out, scribbling on there. Kilroy was here. Happy New Year to all our readers. I mean, there's probably as much feeling gone into Fred Fancy's flow than the whole of Charles Dickens' Romeo and Juliet. I mean, I tell you, I've seen some lovely work. I'll tell you, there's a wash and brush up in Chatham. I've never read poetry like it in my life. Beautiful it is, the metre, it scans, it's poetic, you know. 1 or 2 spelling mistakes. And some of them illustrated. Lovely, shows vivid imagination and that, you know. It's a beautiful sight, it really is. You should go and have a look. Oh, you can't, can you? But it really is beautiful there.
Why do you suppose that they find inspiration in a place like that?
Whoa. The solitude, the magic of the moment. This feeling of being cut off. I mean, how can you define me in Tangerine?
Mr. Bossum, may we now have a poem from your new book?
Right, yeah, this book is called Now is the Winter of My Discotheque. And this poem sums up for me in its entirety all the superfluity of modern living and everyday affairs and all that. The soldier sat in the army jail and his mother had brought him a pudding. But the sergeant said it was against the rules, even though it was a good un. Then he saw the look in the mother's eyes and he knew she was feeling hurt. So he did a thing he thought he'd never do. He helped a soldier to desert. The soldier got hold of his pudding
And he ran with it back to his cell. Then put out your pudding for drink. He heard the sergeant yell, "If you want treacle on your pudding, put it out without delay." The soldier put out his pudding, and the sergeant took it away.
Thank you, Mr. Boston.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure there are a lot of things which you, the viewers, must wonder about, you know, about television. I mean, take, for example, those commercials where there's a girl taking a bath or a shower. I mean, don't you ever wonder how they're made and who was there and what they were thinking? Well, I did a commercial the other day, and actually, on the set in the studio next to us, they were doing one of these girl in the bath commercials, you know. So when I'd finished doing what I was doing, you know, I sort of casually strolled over there at 65 miles an hour. And there was a very beautiful bath set, you see, and there was a very nervous director pacing up and down, and suddenly through the doors came the most beautiful blonde-haired girl in a trouser suit you've ever seen in your life, and he went straight up to her and he said, "Miss Hargreaves, ready when you are." "Oh, we can't start till you're in the bath, can we?" "Yes, it's for the commercial, for soap. The agency told you soup." "Oh, well, I do assure you it is soap. Bath soap." Yes, well, people don't take a bath with their clothes on, do they? Yes, I realise it's extra money for taking your clothes off, but I'm sure the firm would be happy to pay the extra. And if they won't, I will. I'll have a whip round amongst the lads here, you see. Oh, only the essential technicians will be here, my dear, as you can see, like the car park attendant and the canteen manager. Yes, well, don't worry, dear, because you will be under the soapy water most of the time, you see. Harry will put his hand in and froth the water all up, you see, before you get in, dear, yes. Well, of course, if it goes flat while you're in it, we'll just have to rely on Harry's self-restraint, won't we? Yes, he will be holding the handheld camera on your back most of the time, you see. Only towards the end will he come round and hold it on your face. Yes, it will be on your face. It may be shaking a little, but it will be on your face, you see. Yes? Well, if any scenes get in there that are a little bit too risque, don't worry, we will cut them out and file them, throw them away. You will, fine. Will you go and change? Righto, Harry, would you froth up the water? No, do it now, Harry, that's lovely. Right, Miss Hargreaves? Right, you are in the bath, that's lovely. Oh, you are a big girl, aren't you? Yes. Just one thing, Miss Hargreaves. Would you mind taking your dressing gown off? Flop it over the side. That's lovely. All right, Harry, there's no need to froth up the water. It's frothy. You dropped your pen in there. Well, we'll just have to leave it till later, won't we? Here we go. Now, take one. That's lovely. Now, pick up the soap, dear. Cut, cut. There's no need to stand up, Miss Hargreaves. Well, why did you stand up? You found Harry's pen. Well, you can give it to him afterwards. Right, oh dear. Here we go. Now, take two. That's it. Crab round, pick up the salt, hold it up, hold up the soap. Right, cut. Oh, splendid. Thank you, Miss Hargreaves. You can go and change now. Oh, excuse me. Hello? Yes? Oh, I see. All right, thank you. You'll never believe this, Miss Hargreaves, but it was soup. Yes, soup. Working soup. I'm sorry. You see, I've never heard of working soup. I'd reached the age of 14 and I hadn't started courting, and my mum was getting worried about me. She says, "Dad, it's time you told him all about the birds and bees." He says, "The birds and bees," and he sat me on his knee. He says, "Now, remember Uncle Joe at that picnic a while ago where we went off into the woods with Auntie Pat? And how I chased old Riley's daughter and what happened when I caught her?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, birds and bees does that." Dad works very hard indeed. Well, he got 10 kids to feed. Well, 10 and 7 nights to be precise. And we all wear hand-me-downs. And as I am the youngest and the others are all girls, it ain't very nice. Dad says, "It's time that you got wed." I says, "I'd rather drop down dead." He says, "Now, how about old Maud from Itley Down?" I says, Maud, not bloody likely. She'd been had by all the chaps in Itley. He said, well, Itley's really quite a little town. He says, you've got to get a wife. You can't go on enjoying life, or folks will think you're strange and start to frown. I says to him, now, look, why should I buy a book when there's a thriving lending library in the town? One day I found a friend. It was up by Badger's End. Little pigeon fell down at my feet. His feathers was flecked with red, and at first I thought he's dead, and then I knelt and I felt his little heart still beat. I cupped him in my hands and I ran home to my mam, and she said, son, I'm as proud of you as I can be. You're thoughtful and you're kind and you've got a gentle mind, and that'll do a treat for your old father's tea. I says, you shall not touch my bird. And without another word, I took him in my room and I shut the door, and then I bathed him and I warmed him and I nursed him back to health, because you see, I'd never really had a friend before. I taught him little tricks, like playing dead and picking up sticks, and the village girls, they brought birdseed every day. Dad, you can't come in, I chant, or my birdie will fly out. But of course, I let the village girls all stay. Oh, there was Mabel from the stable and Mary from the dairy. We had a visit from our beauty queen. And that great big Betty Mavery. And she got her own aviary. Well, she got the biggest parakeets I've ever seen. Dad says you ought to let him go. The mum, she says, oh no, you just want to get some shooting practice in. But the vicar says, my son, it really isn't done, and to lock up a wild thing, well, that's a sin. One morning, when it was all still, I took him up to Badger's Hill. I lost the only little friend I had that day. Not a word I said, I just kissed his little head, and I opened my hands, and I watched him fly away. He circled up and round, and then he settled on the ground, and off he went straight up to the sky. And then I looked, and I could see he was flying back to me. And then he swooped, and then he popped right in my eye. I thought, that's bloody rude. And cool, there's gratitude. I hope they never cross a pigeon with a cow. And Dad says, here, there's a caper, I'll go get a bit of paper. I says, don't be daft, he's miles away by now. Dad says, I know you lost a friend, but it's really not the end. You'll be married and have your family of your own quite soon. Well, I never said a word. But you see, that little bird had lured 18 little ravers up to my room. So if anyone's got a spare cockatoo or an old crow they don't want, I'd be very much obliged, because, you know...